Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1042, The Victor Needs No Epitaph. It took me a bit to remember the word epitaph there. The chapter art this week is the continuation of the Germa Double Six adventure going on. It's Oven has closed the book, he's picking it up, and he is taking Niji and Yonji to Whole Cake Island, where I assume they will be tortured for information, perhaps. But I actually, in the front of the art though, it's very cute. Pudding is just sitting there, still fuming over the mistreatment of Sanji, but seems a little proud of herself. I guess she didn't get it all out of her system, but at least she managed to get some of it out. But with that, we will get into the actual chapter itself. Not a lot happens in terms of like number of things happening in this chapter, but the weight of what happens is what is really going to affect the next chapter. So we start off with CP0 and Drake, actually at the end of their kind of battle. So last chapter, Drake was looking on at CP0 and he said, to himself, I can't just die and have nothing to show for it. So in the time between chapters, he took his sword and rammed it through. And CP0 is just standing there, big sword cut through him, and he's like, Drake, why? And Drake goes, I have to do what my justice tells me to do. And then the CP0 agent says, I envy you. Only to turn around and immediately finger pistol Drake. So it's not like the sword slash really did anything, but who are you, masked CP0 agent? Why do you envy Drake, who can carry out his own sense of justice? Are you following orders and you don't want to? So is this CP0 agent maybe kind of like Reiju, where you are bound by some kind of like chemical rule or something? Whatever the reason, he is free to now go and do what the Gorosei told him to do, and finish off Monkey D. Luffy. Anyways, then we cut down to the Fire Festival, which is still going on, and still happy, and still playful, and personally, this is just a personal thing, at this point, I would love if the Fire Festival just never knows this happened. Like, they have this big party, they're like, oh boy, this is the one day a year we get to celebrate, and we don't have Orochi, and we don't have Kaido, and they're all partying, and then, just as the party's over, they're like, oh, we have to go back to our life in oppression, and they start walking, and then they just look over, and they're like, is that Onigashima? Then Kaido's, like, knocked out cold on the ground, they're like, is that Kaido? Is that Orochi's dead body? Woo! Fire Festival never stops! I think that would be funny. Just because it's in almost every arc you have the civilians and the normal people aware of the present danger. Like Dressrosa with the birdcage closing in, or Arlong Park where the citizens of Kokoyashi knew that Luffy was fighting Arlong. This would actually be a funny little change of pace if the citizens just never knew they were in danger until the danger was already gone. Personally, I think that would be funny. We'll have to find out. But for now, with Momo tugboating it away, and Luffy and Kaido's fight, reaching its climax, that might actually be a thing that happens. But enough about that. Let's get into the most important part of this chapter, Luffy and Kaido's fight. It's just an exchange of blows left and right as Kaido and Luffy are going at it. Mostly Luffy, though. With Snake Man, he's able to outpace Kaido, and with his newly learned, advancement of his Conqueror's Haki, he's able to wallop Kaido in, every direction possible. Although Kaido is now switching between more drunk phases. My personal favorite is the flirtatious drunk. I believe Viz called it the beggar drunk, but Kaido's just like, stop hitting me, stop hitting me, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. So I thought that was pretty funny. But then he looks at Luffy and says, don't think you're the only one who can see the future. And uses his thieving drunk. Which he doesn't actually it's not like Kakashi from Naruto where he can steal your techniques with the Sharingan. It's just Kaido apparently knows how to do that. So We now have 3 observation hockey users who have the future sight version. It's kind of interesting to think that Big Mom doesn't have that, but I like the idea that the 4 emperors don't all have the exact same abilities. Like, Big Mom doesn't need armament hockey to protect herself from basic attacks. You know, Kaido, if Kaido can see the future, then that's pretty cool. Maybe Blackbeard has 2 devil fruits, so he's already unique. It's nice to think that maybe the 4 emperors don't all have the same abilities. They all have to learn their own unique way of combating the other 3. Regardless, though, Kaido just straight up eats Luffy. He's weaving past all of Luffy's punches because he can see the future, and then he flies up above Onigashima. And as he's up there above Onigashima, he opens his mouth, and Luffy comes flying out, and he just blast breath. And a pillar of fire just pierces all of Onigashima. You see it all the way out there. And Luffy barely escapes this blast breath by bouncing out of the way and switching to Bound Man. This is the first time we've seen Luffy switch between Gear 4th forms. I was always under the impression that when Luffy went into Gear 4th, he had to stick to the form he chose. But now we know he can switch up. Which still begs the question of why he never uses Tank Man anymore. I get it. You know, it was funny, it was a gag, but it's called Tank Man Full Mode. So there's gotta be a regular Tank Man, right? The 2 of them then have an exchange of ideals. Kaido telling Luffy that this is a kingdom of failures and losers and those who have died with nothing to show for it. The only glory in their lives has been their death. To which Luffy responds with, "Shut up, the samurai are strong." And Kaido responds with the title of the chapter, "The Victor Needs No Epitaph." In other words, they don't need a special name written on their tombstone. Here lies, Straw Hat Luffy kind of thing. And Kaido asks him, "So what are you, a winner or a guy with an epitaph?" And the 2 of them bring out their best attacks. Luffy creates this King Kong gun, the big inflated one, but he calls it Over Kong because he's using the armament and Conqueror's Haki combined. Kaido brings out his Ultimate Thunder Bagura, and the 2 of them are getting ready to go at it. But just as the 2 of them are about to make their final exchanges, that CP0 agent shows up and he grabs Luffy's arm and he puts himself into Iron Body to brace himself and kind of work as like an iron brace to hold Luffy. And Luffy's unable to do his punch, which leaves him wide open. And Kaido has a moment. Kaido thinks back to the fight against Odin. Because Odin got distracted by his son being in danger, Kaido was able to land the hit that won him the battle. And it's happening again. Somebody interfered. The best fight Kaido has had since Odin, and somebody stepped in. And the look on Kaido's face says everything. Not again. Kaido is legitimately upset. And then he strikes Luffy. There's nothing he could do about it. The attack was already in motion. And once again, Kaido's epic battle, the great part of Kaido, the beautiful death, everything that Kaido loves is taken away from him again. That CP0 agent is dead. We're never going to find out what he meant when he was jealous of Drake, because he is just going to straight up die. We know the old lady with the clone fruit, Kaido had her executed for her crime of just, interfering with his fight. There's no way this CP0 agent is getting out of this alive. But that's not what's important. What's important is Monkey D. Luffy has lost. And I know it's One Piece. I know Luffy's going to get back up, but that's quite the dramatic finish. And I think that's the end of this current Luffy versus Kaido fight. We're just going to have to wait until next chapter to see what happens. But for now, Luffy lost. And we're just going to have to hope next chapter brings some better days. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.